Of course, at the photography show and the video show, we try to cover end-to-end workflows from capture all the way to output. But what about that bit in the middle? What about the workflow? What about the editing? Well, we've got something new here at the photography show and the video show this year, and Amit from ASUS is here to show us. Hello. It's been a little while since we've spoken at the show, but you're back and you've got some interesting new gear to show us this year. What are we looking at here?
Well, yeah, first year at the show for ASUS, I've said to them, you know, regardless of where you sit in the industry, everyone's got to process their videos, everyone's got to process their images. And so ProArt has been designed with creatives in mind. So all of the best bits of laptops and all of the manufacturing that we do, we've gone out to creators. We've said to them, what do you need in a laptop? What's important to you as a creator? And we've built the laptops accordingly. And
of course, ASUS has a rich history in terms of PCs and in terms even performance PCs, particularly in the gaming area. So bringing some of that heritage and that performance to the creator space as well, it seems like a perfect fit. But it's not just the performance under the hood that you've got here. You've got some real usability and UI tweaks here as well that's going to make it a really good fit for those who are spending a lot of their time in tools like Lightroom here, for example.
Yes, so our screens, for example, are best in class. They're calibrated out of the box, full DCI-P3, you've got the full RGB, Adobe RGB color spectrum in there. So the colors that you're seeing on the screen are true to life, they're really accurate. And a lot of our screens that you see on the stand today, they're 4K, they're OLED, and it just takes your visual experience, everything that you're seeing on screen, to that next level. You're being able to pull out that clarity and get that real accuracy. And then something that we've got that's quite unique on the ProArt laptop is the control dial. So this you won't see on anything else, and it's the first of its kind. So it's a dial that will give you a real tactical control. So I've got it set up in Lightroom at the moment. And if I go into the develop module in Lightroom, traditionally you would use the sliders on the right-hand side and you drag and drop. Having the control dial, what that allows you to do is you can take your image now full screen and then use the control dial to edit. So if I tap the control dial in just like that, brings up this little pop-up menu, and I can cycle between shadows, highlights, saturation, etc. So let's just go into the highlights, and I can tap that in, and now I can drag that backwards and forwards, and it will make the adjustment to the image. It's just a much better way of editing your image, because you're then focusing on the image rather than a little slider. You'd be a little more precise. And the control dial is fully customizable. So we work with Adobe as well as a number of other app manufacturers.
Obviously you're showing off Lightroom here, but let's say you spend more time in Photoshop or more time in Premiere or After Effects or Audition even. Are there capabilities for the dial head also to give you the flexibility to control within those applications too?
You can use the control dial in pretty much any application. And there's a piece of software called the ProArt Hub, and that's where you'd go to customize what options come up on the control dial.
And ProArt, let's just take a little bit of a step there. ProArt is the name of ASUS's?
It's our flagship model in terms of everything that we create for creators. So all of the best technology, the best processor, best graphics card, build quality, and as I've mentioned already, the screen are best in class as well.
Good stuff. There's another machine that's also very popular at the moment. I tell you what, why don't we just have a look and see if we can just go have a look over the corner while one of Amit's colleagues is showing somebody else here. Just chat us through what it is we're looking at here.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite device at ASUS. I've actually used this as my day-to-day. The unique thing about this is called the ZenBook Duo. The unique thing is the very obvious second monitor that you get on the laptop.
So you wouldn't even know that's a monitor from just looking at it. You think, oh, they've got a big bit of art there just above the keyboard, but actually that is a touchscreen monitor and an extended display.
They're actually both touchscreen, 4K and OLED. Wow. And the device, the laptop also comes with a pen that you can use, and you get that full 4,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. So you've got a graphics tablet, you've got two monitors. It's really, really great for workflow, because you imagine you can have multiple applications open at the same time.
So show us, if you can, how this second screen here might be used in I mean, you were showing us Lightroom a moment ago, maybe that's still a good example, how that would be typically used in a workflow to maximize your, I guess, visual space of the image that you're editing while still giving you as much control as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me open up Lightroom, and I can show you something called the control panel. So if I take this image now, and give me a sec.
Now, of course, we have just come to, someone else was using this a moment ago, so
there we go. So now I've got the control panel, and this is one of many ways that you can use a second screen. This is working with Adobe's API, so this is not like keyboard shortcuts, this is working with the engine of the program. Really, really clever stuff. And again, just like the ProArt, where we were using the control dial to edit the images rather than using the sliders, you've now got almost a full control deck of buttons, sliders and dials to then edit your image.
So I can just adjust the saturation there. That's obviously way too much. We can take this pretty much monochrome down there, and I've still got the full screen so that I can see the adjustments that I'm making rather than having the toolbars down the left-hand side there and up the adjustment. Obviously, someone who knows far more about what they're doing in terms of editing an image would be better than I. But I mean, this is great, and again, like you say, this works in a variety of applications. So if I'm editing in Premiere, which I spend an awful lot of my life doing, it seems, similar capabilities here.
Absolutely. So depending on what application you have open, be it Premiere, Photoshop, InDesign, the control panel will change based on how you've configured it. And then if you didn't want to use the control panel, you might want to use in Premiere, for example, when I edit, I put the timeline down at the bottom screen and then use the main screen for doing all my chopping and editing.
Two more things about this. First of all, is you come around here, have a look at this hinge. Amit, if you could just close this machine, because the closing mechanism is a thing of beauty, ladies and gentlemen.
So the hinge, you'll see this on a number of our laptops, even on some of our entry level like VivoBook. It's called Ergo Lift, and it's the mechanism just open and close really, really easily, and it just elevates the screen at this perfect angle.
And the thing that this leads me to is the performance of this notebook, because you can spec this up to i9 and all the performance you need, but actually this gap here that the lift gives you, that plays an important part in exhausting some of the heat, dissipating the heat.
Absolutely, you can have the best laptop or desktop in the world, but if it gets too hot, it doesn't matter what processor and what graphics card is in there. If it gets too hot, it just won't function. And so what we're able to do with this mechanism is the air can be pulled in from the sides and the back, and then it's expelled out at the top. We've got a very similar technology in the ZenBook Pro over here, where again the keyboard is elevated at that angle, and not only does that make it a more comfortable typing experience, but again it's able to expel that heat, as you said.
Nice. Really interesting stuff, and I think There's one more thing Amit's got. Go on, Amit, go for it.
Magic trick, a really favourite feature of mine is number pad. So this looks like
There's no number pad on here, sorry, I think you've got the wrong machine.
On the keyboard, but the trackpad has a little trick here. You turn that on, and it's a backlit LED trackpad with the numbers. So when you are going to be doing less creative tasks, and unfortunately with a photography business, you do have to run a business, and when you're doing your accounts and you're putting your data into spreadsheets, having a proper number pad is really, really useful.
Yeah. My keyboard for my machine at home, it does have the number pad on the side, and I use that an awful lot, usually with the minus as the first thing that I'm typing in, sadly, but hey, like you say, that's business. Amit, thank you very much indeed for showing us around these incredible ProArt ZenBook Pros, and say the mechanism, the use of that second screen, I think, is going to be really interesting for many people who are watching. However, that's not the full story here on the ASUS stand. We're going to be looking at some monitors here, Nicole. Tell us a bit more about what we're looking at here with these ProArt displays.
What we're looking at right here is our 32-inch ProArt. It's a PA 32 UCR-K. It's fairly new.
There's a lot of numbers and letters in there, but try and break down what that means for those of us watching.
Okay, so actually the PA, can you guess what that means? ProArt, indeed, yeah. Okay. And then the 32 indicates the size, and that's the same for all our range and the monitors. So easy to indicate there's a ProArt and what the size is. I won't tell you about the rest, it's quite technical. But what we do offer in the overall ProArt display range, 24 to 32 inch currently. They range from Full HD, 2K to 4K. What they've all got included is the colour accuracy, which is really important, obviously, for any type of creative editing works that's being done. So this is, like I said, a 32-inch. What we move over to here is our new ultra-wide.
So this is, it's a 21:9 aspect ratio by the looks of it, and it's a very different footprint on your desk, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, ProArt's great for any type of creative users, content creation, editing, from architectural design, obviously photo and video editing, all the way up to high-end broadcast. So we do actually have what we'd say an entry to mid-tier offering within ProArt displays, all up to that high-end, more for the the broadcast high-end video editing users. So what this would be ideal for is anyone in creative music, for example, because they need to see more of the screen. So this is where this screen comes in really handy. Some people just like having that ultra-wide solution, so we've got that to offer as well here.
And that's USB-C power delivery, so you could power one of your machines off of that.
Yeah, a lot of this the displays come with USB-C power over delivery, minimum of 65 watt all the way up to 90 currently. So that's what you'll get with a lot of them. Built-in collaboration is really important. A lot of the ProArt displays have that.
Well, in fact, let's take a look over here very quickly while we've got time. We'll pass by this projector here, which is very pretty, but we're not going to have time to talk about that because we've just got time to look at these that do have. You might think that is a webcam, ladies and gentlemen, but this is the built-in calibration that you were talking about.
Yep. So it's our first OLED. First of all, as well, our first OLED ProArt display, and then, like you've said, it's got that auto collaborator built in, which again is our first ProArt display to have that.
These OLEDs, they are really, really nice to look at, I have to say. Really, really beautiful, and so having that up there, if that is part of your workflow, and I guess you're going from sort of mid-range people who are creating stuff every day, but also those who are working maybe on higher end TV, very high end corporate video and so on, where that consistency across whoever's working on the content is going to be important.
Absolutely, yeah. It gives you that precision and that accuracy, in whatever you're editing or creating. Yeah.
Good stuff. Listen, Nicole and Amit, thank you very much indeed for chatting us through the whole workflow piece here. It's very exciting, and welcome to the photography show.
Yeah, really excited to be here, and hopefully every year we'll now continue to come.
Look forward to it. Take care. Thanks a lot. Cheers.